Percy Jackson books? Why are there so many?
So many? Aren't there just like 5?
5? I thought there were at least 15.
15? I've heard 20.
That's so many. Where should I start? Percy Jackson and the Olympians? Heroes of Olympus? Kane Chronicles? Trials of Apollo? What's the most recent? Is Chalice of the Gods part of the first series? Is it a separate series? What's going on? I'm so lost.
Girlie, was this you just now? That's literally insane. How did you end up in the right corner of the internet? Hello, my name is Tessa and welcome back to another video. And today I am answering the million-dollar question: how should you read the Riordanverse books in order to get the maximum enjoyment and not get spoiled for the rest of the series? Now, quick disclaimer. I am not Rick Riordan. I know, it was a shock when I found out as well. That said, I have no way of knowing if this is the Rick Riordan approved way of reading these books. This is just the way it makes sense to me. But then again, I have never made sense in my entire life. Now, before you ask, yes, you can go order of publication. But where would the fun be? Where would the risk be? Is this girl that I just randomly met because I clicked on her video on the internet telling me truth or lies? Where's the adventure in going order of publication? If you've come here, you clearly like adventure, my good sir, madam, or captain. And I am here to deliver. That being said, I hope this makes sense to you. Again, I have never made sense. This makes sense to me. Yada, yada, yada. You get the ordeal. So without further ado, this is how I think you should read the Riordanverse books. First of all, let's get this out of the way. You can read the Kane Chronicles wherever, whenever you want. These books don't have connections to the rest of the Riordanverse books. And those would be the Red Pyramid, the Throne of Fire, and the Serpent's Shadow. The Kane Chronicles is about a pair of siblings called Carter and Sadie Kane, and they have been separated since their mother died. One day, their father tries to join them in the British Museum for an experiment, and that goes as well as you can imagine. And they end up unleashing an Egyptian god that banishes their father into oblivion. So you know, the usual Thursday. They now must run from this Egyptian god while they discover that a whole lot more deities are waking up. Have I read the Kane Chronicles? Yes. Do I remember anything? No. Reread is being shipped to me as we speak. Like I said, you can read these independently of the rest of the Riordanverse books. They won't alter your enjoyment of the rest of the series. Oh, Tessa, but there's literally one of the characters from the Kane Chronicles graphic novel that wears an orange t-shirt. Are you the fashion police? That's a no. Let people wear what they want. Also, that doesn't count. Tessa, but the short stories. Sit down. I am getting to the short stories. Yes, there are short stories that include both Carter and Percy. But I will mention them in this video when it's time for you to read them. Matter of fact, the short stories are not on the table right now. They're not even on the carpet. They're below it. Are they in the underworld? Let's see. We are in the water, and we are about to dive in some Greek gods-infested waters, people. Put on your Hercules floaties. Let's start with the very beginning. You will start by the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and you're going to read it all the way through. And that is The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. This is the main series. This is the series that everyone talks about when they talk about the Percy Jackson series. The TV series on Disney Plus is being based off of this book series, and they're adapting one book per season. So you only need to read The Lightning Thief to watch season 1, and so on and so forth. This series is about a kid named Percy Jackson who has been kicked out of 6 schools in 6 years. And that is the least of his concerns, as a lot of creatures from the Greek myths seem to be walking straight out of the stories into his life. When Zeus's lightning bolt goes missing, Percy ends up as the prime suspect, and he must do something about it. And before you say, oh, that's a spoiler, this is literally on Rick Riordan's website. Rick's spoiling you, not me. These books are literally amazing. If you only decide to read these books, you will be in for a treat. As a rule of thumb for all of the Riordanverse, finish the main series first, and then start the short stories that belong with that series. All the short stories in the Riordanverse are completely optional and won't affect your enjoyment of the main series. So you can read them, you can skip them, you'll be happy with either. So for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, that would be the Demigod Files. That includes Percy Jackson and the Bronze Dragon, Percy Jackson and the Stolen Chariot, and Percy Jackson and the Sword of Hades, The Ultimate Guide, and Percy Jackson and the Singer of Apollo. Uh-oh. What's that? Is that Me? Telling you to not read the most recent series, the Senior Year Adventures, even though the series is technically a second series that's part of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series? Yes, that is me. There are new books coming out. I will mention them later in the video, and yeah, I will talk about them then when it's time for you to read them. Right now, forget they exist, okay? Take a dip in the Leith. Leith. What's the name of the river? Take a dive in a river that makes you forget. There we go. No pronunciation problems with this one. Is it the Phlegethon? No, that's another river. So it's the Styx, but that gives you immortality. It's the Leith. Leith, because Leith. Latte. This is also a great place for you to pick up Percy Jackson and the Greek Gods. These are hilarious books of stories about the Greek gods told from Percy's POV. Just a quick disclaimer, if you decide to buy the hardcover of Percy Jackson and the Greek Gods, the book is literally this high. So, yeah, not a good choice to bring as a light read. There's nothing light about that book, except the content. The content is light. Very funny. Now, you finished the optional short stories. You finished the main series. It is time for you to move on and start the Heroes of Olympus series. This series is a spin-off of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and this is where Roman mythology comes into play. And that is the Lost Hero, the Son of Neptune, Mark of Athena, House of Hades, and Blood of Olympus. It follows a new great prophecy and a new generation of demigods, and that's all I'm telling you. Again, this is straight out of Rick Riordan's website. If you want to raise your concerns with anyone, raise it with the big guy. Now, can you read Heroes of Olympus without reading Percy Jackson and the Olympians? Let me tell you right now. As a girl who has never made sense in her life, this doesn't make sense. If you read Heroes of Olympus before you read Percy Jackson and the Olympians, character dynamics are gonna be spoiled, plot points are gonna be spoiled. Do you want that? Percy Jackson and the Olympians is one of the best series I've ever read. Don't think of it as a prequel. It is anything but a prequel. It was written on its own and deserves to be appreciated on its own. And so does Heroes of Olympus. And I think you will take the most out of both series if you decide to read Percy Jackson and the Olympians and then Heroes of Olympus, just as I'm telling you, okay? Trust me, random girl on the internet that you've never met before. You'll be fine. You'll be fine with trust me. You'll be fine. Now, you can read Heroes of Olympus without reading the Percy Jackson and the Olympians if and only if you have never, ever shown interest in reading Percy Jackson and the Olympians. But if you have ever shown even a little bit of interest, don't do it. Don't do it. You will ruin both series for yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. That's on you. Now, if you're like, oh, 10 books is a lot, which one of the two should I read? First of all, wrong video. Second of all, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, no questions asked, okay? And after you finish the Heroes of Olympus, you can celebrate by reading the short stories. And that would be the Demigod Diaries, and this is also a great place for you to fit in Percy Jackson and the Greek heroes. Again, you can fit these educational mythology books anywhere really, but this book in particular mentions one or two characters from Heroes of Olympus. Doesn't spoil anything, but it's great if you get the reference. You know what I mean? At least for comedic purposes. You'll get another laugh taken out of you. You paid for the book. You let it make you laugh. Ha 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 ha. Now, if at any point during your journey in reading these books, you've decided to read the Kane Chronicles, and you have now finished Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus, you can start the short story collection, Demigods and Magicians. That's right, those were the short stories that were in Tartarus in the beginning of the video. We're pulling them back up. This is a collection of 3 short stories, The Son of Sobek, The Staff of Seraphis, and The Crown of Ptolemy. And these feature the protagonists from both series meeting, and it's the only crossover between the 2 series. Tessa girl, this is so confusing. Girl, we're literally halfway through. Adjust your floaties. Now, a lot of people get here after finishing Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus, and they're like, oh, Magnus Chase, oh, the Trials of Apollo, which one comes first? Chicken and the egg type of situation. If you went by chronological order and you didn't listen to me, you would be jumping in between series, because what Rick Riordan did was he did Trials of Apollo, Magnus Chase, Trials of Apollo, Magnus Chase, and this is not Cassandra Clare. That's another video. These series happen more or less at the same time, so you can choose to read one or the other. It's really what toots your horn, and what toots my horn is Magnus Chase. You know what Magnus Chase is for me? It's Rick Riordan dipping his toes in Nordic mythology without floaties and hitting Valhalla right off the bat. This series includes the Sword of Summer, the Hammer of Thor, and the Ship of the Dead. And it's about a boy named Magnus who has been sleeping alone in the streets of Boston ever since his mother died. Until one day, he meets his uncle who tells him he is the son of a Norse god. And if by now you're thinking, Tessa, all of these synopses are very much similar. Well, yes, I believe that Rick Riordan has crafted himself a perfect formula, and I think at his house he has one of those wheels like The Price is Right, and he's like, so this guy is the son of a Nordic god! The last line of the synopsis in Rick Riordan's website is, sometimes the best way of starting a new life is to die. Again, if you think this is a spoiler, blame the big guy. I love Magnus Chase. Can you read these books without reading Percy Jackson? No. There is a very important character dynamic in Percy Jackson and the Olympians that gets spoiled in Ship of the Dead, the last book in Magnus Chase. Can you read Magnus Chase without reading Heroes of Olympus? Hell yeah! And when you finish the series, you can reward yourself with the optional short stories, which are Hotel Valhalla, A Guide to the Nine Worlds, and 9 from the 9 Worlds. And now,
You got here, bestie.
you can finally start The Trials of Apollo. This is the most recent finished series from Rick Riordan. And it's The Hidden Oracle, The Dark Prophecy, The Burning Maze, Tyrant's Tomb, and The Tower of Nero. This series follows Apollo, yes, Apollo, a Greek god of the sun, as he's punished by Zeus and his immortality is stripped away. He will try his best to get it back and he will stop at nothing. Tessa, these synopses are so half-hearted. Let me tell you something. If I say something I'm not supposed to, if I say one location name, one character name, one plot point that I'm not supposed to, the internet is gathering itself, grabbing me by my toes and throwing me to Tartarus. How do I know? I just know. Do not read this series without reading Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Heroes of Olympus. Otherwise, I will grab you by your toes and throw you to Tartarus. That's a promise. Why? Here's the thing. There are character cameos, and then there's whatever is happening in Trials of Apollo. And those are not character cameos, okay? Let's end there.
Hi, this is Tessa in post-editing, post-posting this video, realizing that I forgot about the Sun and the Star. You can read Sun and the Star after you finish the Trials of Apollo, and it's a Nico D'Angelo adventure where he goes to a very special place that I can talk about right now. I'm spitballing. I didn't write this part of the script. I just realized I forgot. Nico D'Angelo is and has always been a fan favorite character, and Rick decided that he was going to release some books about him and about another character that's in the book cover, but I can't really speak about, otherwise I will spoil a part of Trials of Apollo. I'm really sorry to the Sun and the Star. You're a legend. You're that girl. You're really it. I'm really sorry.
After you finish the Trials of Apollo, reward yourself in reading the optional short stories. Yes, again. Those are Camp Half-Blood Confidential and Camp Jupiter Classified. Now, do you remember those books in the beginning of the video that were technically part of the first series, but I told you, no, don't read them here. Read them when I say. So this is me saying it. It's high time for you to start the senior year adventures. These would be Chalice of the Gods, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess, and an untitled third book that is coming out this year. Yes, this year, these books are still coming out. Now, why am I telling you to read these books now? Because for me, these books thrive on nostalgia. I can't say much about these books without spoiling, essentially the rest of the series. Can you read these after you finish The Last Olympian? Yes. Will you understand anything? Yes. Will you avoid spoilers? Yes. Will you get the maximum enjoyment out of it? No. Because, then again, these books thrive on nostalgia. And this video is for you to get maximum enjoyment. So for you to get maximum enjoyment, read them after the Trials of Apollo. You'll have to trust me on this one. Me, a stranger on the internet with a weird obsession about these books. You'll be fine. And what's that? That's the light at the end of the tunnel. You're finally caught up with the Riordanverse. I knew you could do it, bestie. You're literally the best. You're the best. You're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. You're literally the GOAT. And this is it. This is my preferred way of reading the Riordanverse. If there's something I want you to take out of this video, is motivation to start the first one. Just the first one, and see how it goes. These books literally shaped the way I look at the world. I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. And that's the power of books, and that's the power of the Riordanverse. So, that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what's your favorite Riordanverse book in the comments below. All my social media will be in the video's description. Make sure you follow all my adventures on there. I will see you soon for another video.